Hello friends, my name is Ramatsu. Today we shall discuss about topic the stakeholder management processes. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in project management or you are planning to give exam or PMP in near future. So let's start. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my new videos can reach to you. And also you can follow me on the Facebook page as well. Basically, friend, stakeholder is a very important knowledge area as defined in the PMBOK guide, project management body of knowledge by PMI. So stakeholder management processes, so that means the PMBOK guide defines that how to manage the stakeholder management, the processes required for stakeholder management. Stakeholder is a person who has a positive or negative interest in a project. So basically today we are basically discussing the processes to manage the persons who has negative or positive interest in a project. We all knows that, friend, being a project manager, if you can manage the stakeholders, like you can manage the customer, you can manage the internal stakeholders, like functional team, QA team, you can manage the customer side, so obviously you can successfully complete a project as well. So first process in this processes list is the identify a stakeholder. Now identify a stakeholder is the first process here. That means, friend, whenever you are starting a project, implementation of a project, you must have to identify the stakeholders. Now stakeholders can have a positive interest, can have a negative interest. So if you are able to identify those stakeholders, that who are your stakeholder, like for example the project manager from the customer side, CO from the customer side, CTO from the customer side, functional manager from the customer side, also these are the external stakeholders which are outside your organization. The internal stakeholders, like for example project manager from your organization, the functional manager from your organization, the QA team, the operation manager, the implementation manager, etc. So these are the stakeholders from your internal side. So first of all, you have to able to identify this list of stakeholders who are involving in your project for the implementation of a project, and also you must have to know that what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. Either they are positive stakeholder, either they are negative stakeholders, and what is their approach to work, what is their value, and what are their influences in the project as well. So first process is the identify stakeholder. You can simply make a Excel sheet in which you can make like 4 to 5 columns or 6 columns, in which you identify the name of the stakeholder, type of the stakeholder, you can identify the influence, strength, weakness, their contact number, their email address, and the type of the stakeholder, etc. So you can make such type of simple Excel sheet, and you can update this Excel sheet with the passage of time, with the implementation of a project. Next is the plan stakeholder engagement. See, friend, before implementation, before starting the project, you must have to engage your stakeholder. Now what does it mean by actually engaging? Engagement means that you have to identify that how will you involve your stakeholders in your project. See, friend, many people want the implementation of a project, and many people don't want this implementation of a project. So you must have to know that how you will engage or involve the stakeholders in your project. So before implementation starting, you must have to make the engagement plan. Okay, so what is actually the engagement plan? For example, you do the status meetings, you do the requirement gathering meetings, you do the conference calls, like for example weekly basis you do the on-site visits with the stakeholder, monthly basis you do the steering committee meeting. So such type of that, basically you are involving the stakeholders, especially from the customer side. Because see, friend, when you involve the stakeholders, so that means they will be sitting in the meeting room, they will be sitting with you, and they will be giving the an input to you, that how and why and which type of implementation they want for a project. So it's important to plan stakeholder engagement. Plan stakeholder engagement means that how will you involve the stakeholder for the implementation of a project, and before starting the project you must have to make a plan stakeholder engagement plan. Basically, you must have a plan that how will you involve the stakeholders in your project. Next is the manage stakeholder. Manage means basically, friend, controlling. Whenever we talk about manage stakeholder engagement, basically we are talking about controlling, that how will you control actually. See friend, sometime it happens that you are involving but they are not involving. You are calling for a meeting, that the meeting is required for the implementation of a project, but they are not interested to do the meeting. Or either way, some other way is also happened, that they are calling you for a meeting but you are not ready for the meeting. So it also happened many times. So basically the manage stakeholder engagement means that you have to control the engagement. Control means, for example, you must have to ensure that on a weekly basis meeting, the on-site meeting with the project manager from the vendor side and with the customer side should happen. Monthly basis the steering meeting should happen, and all the issues, first of all you must have to do best try that that all the issues should be resolved in the project management meeting. Okay, with the project manager, all the issues should be resolved. If issues are not resolving, then it can be escalated to the steering committee meeting as well. So basically friend, it is important to understand here that controlling or managing stakeholder is also very important, because see, if you are not managing the stakeholder engagement, obviously the project will be going off track as well. Next process is the monitor stakeholder engagement. Monitoring means that again it is also controlling and monitoring part. Basically, monitoring means, friend, that for example you have noticed that for example the steering committee within a month is not a good idea. You must have to do the stakeholder engagement, the steering committee meeting within 2 weeks. Okay, after every 2 weeks you have to do the steering committee meeting. So basically you are monitoring the stakeholder engagement, and you are taking the corrective actions wherever it's required. It's also important that basically we are monitoring the effectiveness of the engagement of stakeholders, involvement of stakeholders. You are trying to assess whether the involvement of stakeholder is as per the requirement for the success of a project or not. If the involvement of stakeholders is not as per the requirement, then you have to take the corrective action. Okay, you have to take the action to get back the project on track. Because see, if the involvement of stakeholders is not as per the requirement, then obviously your project will go off track, and obviously your project will be a big failure if the involvement of stakeholder is not proper. So basically monitoring means that you are watching, you are basically analyzing the involvement of stakeholders. If there is any correction required, if there is any action required to properly or enhance the involvement of stakeholder, then you have to take it immediately you have to take the action, so that your project gets successful. Again this is to reiterate that, friend, proper appropriate involvement of a stakeholder is the key success factor in the implementation of a project. If your stakeholders are properly involving in the project, obviously you can be successful in your project. And also it is important that involvement of stakeholder from top management, it is the most important thing. Top management means like the CTO, CEO, from customer side, from the vendor side, they should also involved in the middle management like project management, functional management, and also the other side of the implementation side like the implementation manager, operation manager, etc. So the most important thing, the top level management should involve, they have the interest, they should be involved, they are attending the meetings, and they are sitting in the conference meeting rooms for the success of the project. So friend, thanks a lot for watching the video. I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video.